Every single day, life presents us with choices. Some are big, some are small, but the one that will define your peace and your power is how you choose to respond when the world pushes you. Someone will cut you off in traffic. Someone will send a text that makes your stomach tighten. Someone will speak to you in a tone that feels like disrespect. And right there, in that split second, you're given a gift, the opportunity to choose who you are going to be in that moment. See, life is not about controlling what everyone else does. Because let's be honest, you can't. You can't control how someone treats you. You can't control their mood, their energy, their intentions, or their actions. People are going to be people, and sometimes that means they're going to be careless with your feelings, reckless with their words, or blind to how they affect you. But you know what you can control. You control you. You can control your reaction. And that is where your power lies. When you react to everything, you scatter your energy like a glass shattering on the floor. Every piece of your peace is handed out to someone else. But when you choose to pause, to breathe, to say, not today, I am not giving this my power, you keep yourself whole. You stop being at the mercy of what happens outside of you and start living from the inside out. That's what true power is. It's not loud. It's not reactive. It's steady. It's intentional, and it's yours. Think about how many times you've felt regret after a quick reaction. Snapping at someone, sending that message, raising your voice, making a decision in anger. And how often have you looked back and thought, "Goo, could have handled that differently"? That's because the real you, the strong you, the wise you doesn't live in that knee-jerk reaction. The real you lives in that pause, that moment where you decide, I choose my response, I choose my energy, I choose my peace. And it's not easy. Let's tell the truth about that. It takes practice. It takes awareness. It takes unlearning that urge to clap back, to defend, to prove something. Because every time you take the bait, every time you let someone pull you into their storm, you leave your own center. But when you stay rooted, when you say to yourself, this doesn't need my reaction, something shifts. The power you used to give away so freely suddenly belongs to you again. There's a story I once heard about a monk who was insulted day after day by a man in the village. This man would yell at him, call him names, try to provoke him in every way possible. And yet, monk never responded. After weeks of this, the man finally asked, "Why don't you respond to me? Is riding on. Why don't you fight back?" And the monk smiled and said, "If someone offers you a gift and you don't accept it, who does it belong to?" That is the essence of not reacting. People can offer you anger, hate, disrespect, but you don't have to take it. You don't have to carry what's not yours. When you start to master your response, you start to master your life. You become unshakable. You walk into rooms with confidence because you know no one can pull you out of your peace unless you let them. You become someone who listens more than you speak, who observes more than you judge, who acts from a place of power instead of pain. That kind of presence changes everything. Your relationships, your career, your health, your joy. Because now you're not living like a puppet on strings, reacting to every tug and pull from the world around you. You are cutting those strings and standing on your own. This is what I want you to understanding. Your response is your choice, and your choice is your power. No one can take that from you unless you hand it to them. The next time you feel that fire rising inside you, that urge to prove a point or defend your worth, take a breath and ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Does this move me closer to the person I want to be? 9 times out of 10, the answer is no, in iding on. And in that moment, when you choose silence, peace, when you choose to hold on to your power, you win every single time. Because the truth is, life is going to keep testing you, but you don't have to react to everything that happens. You don't have to catch every ball that's thrown your way. When you stop reacting to things that don't matter, you start controlling the only thing that ever really has, yourself. And when you control yourself, you control your future. The greatest power you will ever hold is not over people, not over circumstances, not even over the unpredictable nature of life itself. It's over you. It's the power to govern your own thoughts, your own emotions, your own choices. Self-mastery is not about perfection. It's about ownership. It's about knowing that no matter what is happening around you, You are not a victim of your impulses. You are the author of your response. So many of us spend our days trying to control everything and everyone around us. We want people to behave the way we think they should. We want outcomes to turn out the way we imagine them. We want the world to fit our plan. And when it doesn't, when people let us down, when circumstances shift, when life hands us a curveball, we fall apart. Why? Because we built our peace on things we could never control in the first place. But the moment you shift your focus inward, the moment you say, ooh, my power isn't in what they do, it's in what I choose to do, everything changes. That's when you stop being a passenger and become the driver. That's when chaos no longer dictates your life. You begin to walk through life with a quiet confidence because you know, whatever comes, whatever happens, I will handle it. And let me tell you something about self-mastering. It's not about suppressing your feelings, Isran. It's not about pretending you're okay when you're not. It's about choosing how you express those feelings. It's about deciding, I may be hurt, but I will not be reckless with my words. I may be angry, but I will not lose myself in that anger. I may be disappointed, but I will not let disappointment define me. That is strength. That is control. Think of it like this. Your mind and your emotions are like a powerful wild horse. Left unchecked, it will run wherever it wants. Sometimes into danger, sometimes to exhaustion, sometimes into destruction. But when you train that horse, when you guide it, it becomes a force of beauty and power. That's what mastering yourself is like. You're not eliminating the energy, you're directing it. You're saying, I will choose where my energy goes. I will choose what my mind focuses on. I will choose how I show up. Self-mastery shows up in the smallest moments. It's choosing to listen instead of interrupt. It's choosing to breathe instead of yell. It's choosing to wait instead of rush into a decision. It's choosing to forgive instead of holding on to bitterness. Those moments might feel small, but together they build a life rooted in peace and clarity. And when you have that kind of control over yourself, something amazing happens. The world feels lighter, riding on, not because the world changed, but because you did. That person who used to trigger you no longer has access to your peace. That disappointment that used to ruin your day now becomes a lesson. That fear that used to paralyze you now becomes fuel to move forward. Against is riding on. You start to feel untouchable, not because you don't feel, but because you've learned how to feel without falling apart. It's easy to think that controlling yourself means losing some part of your authenticity, but it's the opposite. When you are grounded in self-mastery, you become more authentically you, not less. Because your reactions are no longer dictated by other people's behavior. You respond from your values. Your vision is riding on. Your truth. That's what makes you magnetic. It's what makes people trust you. They see that you're not swayed by every wind, not shaken by every storm. You're rooted, and there's power in that. There will always be things you can't control. People will make choices you don't agree with. Life will throw challenges you didn't see coming. Pain, loss, change. They're part of the human experience. But when you've mastered yourself, you no longer feel like a victim of life's unpredictability. You can stand in the middle of a storm and still choose calm. You can face uncertainty and still choose faith. You can be surrounded by noise and still choose silence. And here's the beauty of it. When you control yourself, you create freedom. You are no longer a prisoner to anger, to fear, to doubt. You're free to choose joy in moments where joy doesn't make sense. You're free to create solutions instead of adding to problems. You're free to keep your focus on what actually matters. That kind of freedom changes how you love, how you work, how you live. So I want to make this decision for yourself today. Go, I will master me. Not them, not the world, just me. I will be the keeper of my peace. I will be the protector of my energy. I will be the leader of my own emotions. Because when you choose self-mastery, you choose the kind of life where no one else gets to control how you feel, how you act, or how you rise. And that right there is real power. For so long, people have misunderstood silence. They look at someone who doesn't react, who doesn't shout back, who doesn't defend themselves at every turn, and they think it's weakness. They think it's fear or passiveness or even surrender. But silence, true intentional silence, isn't weakness. It's strength in its purest form. It's choosing not to give energy to things that don't deserve it. It's choosing to rise above instead of sink into the noise. We live in a world that constantly demands a reaction. Social media tells you to respond to every comment, every post, every opinion. In life, people throw their energy at you, anger, judgment, disrespect, and expect you to throw it right back. And when you don't, when you choose stillness over chaos, people don't always understand it, but you don't need them to, because your silence isn't for them. It's for you. Stillness is where power lives, is riding on. It's where clarity is born. When you choose silence, you give yourself space to think, to breathe, to process before acting. You are no longer caught in the moment's heat, where anger and ego want to run the show. You move from a place of wisdom, not impulse. And that is what separates the reactive from the powerful. There's a story I love about a woman who faced constant criticism from her coworkers. They whispered behind her back. They questioned her abilities, and they tried to provoke her at every turn. But she stayed silent, calm, and focused on her work, inciting on. One day someone asked, "Why don't you defend yourself? Why don't you tell them off?" And she smiled and said, "Because I refuse to waste my energy on things that don't move me forward." That's what silence gives Yug freedom. Freedom from the need to prove yourself to people who don't value you. Freedom from conversations that go nowhere. Freedom from battles that don't deserve to be fought. When you learn to stay silent, you learn to listen. And when you truly listen, not to respond, but to understand, you begin to see things differently. You start to notice patterns, intentions, and truths you would have missed if you were too busy reacting. Silence allows you to hear what's really being said, even when no words are spoken. It gives you perspective, and perspective is power. People may mistake your silence for weakness, but it's not about them. It's about you choosing your peace over your pride. It's about understanding that every argument you avoid isn't a loss, it's a win, because you win back your time, your energy, and your emotional well-being. Silence isn't about being passive, it's about being strategic. It's knowing when speaking will create change and when speaking will only create more noise. Confidence is riding on. And then there's stillness, the quiet inside of you. It's not just about staying silent outwardly. It's about finding stillness inwardly. That inner calm that says, I don't have to react because I know who I am. That stillness is unshakable. It keeps you centered when the world around you feels chaotic. It keeps you grounded when emotions want to take over. Confidence riding on. And it gives you the clarity to choose your next step with intention instead of impulse. Choosing silence and stillness doesn't mean ignoring your feelings or suppressing your truth. It means respecting yourself enough to decide how and when to express it. It's choosing to handle conflict on your terms, not on someone else's timeline. It's saying, I will not let you control my voice, my mood, confiding on, or my energy. That's what makes silence powerful. It's not an absence of response. It's the presence of control. When you become someone who can be silent when others expect noise, when you can be still when others are frantic, you change how people experience you. They begin to see your strength, even if they don't say it out loud. They begin to respect your boundaries, even if they don't fully understand them. And most importantly, you begin to respect yourself in a deeper way because you are no longer at the mercy of other people's chaos. There will be times when speaking up is necessary, times when silence is not an option if your confidence is riding on. But you will know the difference because you've learned to control the impulse to react. You've learned to sit with discomfort long enough to know whether it's worth a response or whether it's best to let it go. That discernment is everything. So the next time you feel that urge to react, to prove yourself, to answer back, pause. Take a breath and ask, does this deserve my voice? Or does my silence say more than words ever could? And remember, silence is not empty. It's full of power. It's full of self-respect, wisdom, and control. And your confidence is riding on. And when you choose silence, when you choose stillness, you're not just protecting your peace. You're claiming your power. When you protect your peace, you open the door for things you once thought were out of reach. Success isn't born from chaos. It doesn't thrive in minds weighed down by anger, resentment, or endless reactions to distractions. Success is drawn to clarity, is riding on. It's drawn to a heart that is calm enough to see opportunity when it appears and focused enough to act on it. That's why peace isn't just a nice idea, it's a strategy. So many people are chasing success, chasing love, chasing happiness, thinking it's all out there somewhere, waiting to be found. But it's not. It starts right where you are, with what's going on inside of you. If your mind is cluttered, if your emotions are scattered, if you're constantly reacting to every little thing, then you're too busy surviving the moment to create something greater. But when you protect your peace, when you choose to stay calm, even when life is loud, you create space for clarity to enter. Think about what happens when you walk into a cluttered room. You feel overwhelmed, distracted, sometimes even stuck. But when you walk into a room that's open and organized, your mind feels lighter. That's what happens inside of you when you guard your peace. You create emotional space to dream, to strategize, to connect with what truly matters. And that space draws success to you because success needs room to grow. People often believe that grinding nonstop, hustling harder, and reacting quickly to everything is the key to getting ahead. But the truth is, frantic energy leads to mistakes, burnout, and poor decisions. Calm energy leads to focus, patience, and breakthroughs. That's why some of the most successful people seem so composed even under pressure. They've learning that reacting emotionally to every situation wastes energy that could be used to create solutions. When you choose peace, you also open yourself up to deeper relationships. Love, trust, and connection grow in an environment of stability, not chaos. People are drawn to those who feel safe to be around, those who radiate calm instead of drama. When you protect your energy and refuse to let every problem pull you into negativity, you create stronger bonds because people know they can rely on your steadiness. And strong relationships, both personal and professional, often become the very bridges to new opportunities and greater success. Peace also helps you see opportunities that others miss. When you're constantly reacting, you're stuck in survival mode, focused on the problem instead of the possibilities. But when your mind is calm, you can see beyond the noise. You begin to notice patterns, resources, confidence riding on, and solutions that were invisible when you were stressed or distracted. That's why so many breakthroughs happen in moments of stillness. Because clarity can't find you when your thoughts are racing. And it's not just about external success. Peace is success. Because what good is achieving all your goals if you're stressed, bitter, or constantly at war inside? True success is when you can look in the mirror and say, I'm proud of how I live, not just what I've achieved. Peace allows you to enjoy the journey, not just chase the destination. It allows you to celebrate small wins instead of rushing past them. And it helps you handle setbacks without losing yourself. Protecting your peace doesn't mean avoiding challenges or pretending problems don't exist. It means choosing how you approach them. It means saying, I have your confidence riding on. I won't let this break me. I won't let this situation make me bitter. I won't let someone else's storm pull me out of my calm. That kind of inner strength makes you unstoppable because nothing outside of you has the power to control you unless you hand it over. And here's the beautiful part. When you live with peace, you inspire others to do the same. Your energy becomes contagious. People see your calm and they feel safe. They feel hopeful. They feel challenged to find their own peace. That ripple effect can change families, workplaces, and entire communities. And all of it begins with your choice. Your choice to protect your peace like your life depends on it, because it does. So I want you to imagine what your life would look like if you made peace your priority. If every day you woke up and decided, no matter what happens today, I will not give away my peace. I will think clearly, act wisely, and protect my energy. Imagine how that clarity would shape your decisions. Confidence is riding on. Imagine how many doors would open simply because you were steady enough to see them. Imagine how love and success would find their way to you because your energy called them in. This is not just about living calmer. It's about living fuller. Because when your heart is quiet and your mind is clear, life begins to flow differently. Things that once felt impossible start to seem within reach. People who once drained you lose their power over you. And opportunities that once passed you by suddenly feel like they were waiting for you all along. That's what peace does. That's what it gives you. The clarity to build, the wisdom to choose, and the strength to rise.